We were all warned that despite global efforts to find a COVID-19 vaccine, it could take a while. The previous record for vaccine development was 4 years. But in early November, the world received welcomed news.
Pfizer's promising COVID-19 vaccine showing it is 90% effective in early but incomplete results.
And then just a week later,
a Moderna COVID-19 study is offering a sign of hope in this race for a vaccine.
Moderna, now the second pharmaceutical company to announce its vaccine is more than 90% effective.
Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are different from vaccines developed in the past. They're what's known as mRNA vaccines.
These are using a new approach to vaccination that hasn't been used in humans before.
Some vaccines put a weakened or inactivated germ into our bodies to trigger an immune response. But mRNA vaccines get the job done in a different way. Dr. Ruth Berggren, an infectious disease specialist with the Long School of Medicine at UT Health San Antonio, put it this way for us. The mRNA goes to find what are kind of like 3D printers in the human body to give those printers instructions on what kind of protein to make.
And in this case, the mRNA is telling your 3D printer to make a protein that looks exactly like that spiky thing on the outside of the COVID virus that everybody's seen. That's the spike protein.
Our immune system then recognizes that the spike protein doesn't belong there and begins to build the defense against it. This mimics what a natural infection does, but with less of a risk.
When you do come in contact with the COVID virus, your immune system will recognize that as invader and then initiate that immune response.
Dr. Douglas Dedham is the chief medical director at Clinical Trials of Texas. He oversaw the local clinical trials for both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Both require 2 shots.
After the first shot, you really don't get a really strong immune response. It takes that second shot 30 days later to kind of boost your body's reaction to it and start really producing the antibodies and protective white blood cells.
The experts we talked to all stress that we are still learning about these vaccines. And one of the biggest questions is, does the vaccine prevent people from spreading the virus or just becoming infected?
We still don't really know how well it's going to protect people. You can still get an infection and maybe not be as infectious, not have the full symptoms that you would get otherwise, but still you can possibly be infectious. That part of it we still don't really have a good handle on yet because this is still pretty new in the game.
Dr. Larry Schlesinger is the president and CEO of Texas Biomed, an organization that worked with the Pfizer vaccine in animal studies. He said in their clinical trials, the vaccine protected 100% of the animals from COVID-19. But even so, there was still a little virus detected in the nose of those animals.
It just depends on how powerful the vaccine is in terms of virus, particularly virus in what we call the upper airways, the nose and the mouth, where people cough out.
And while the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines will be the first to be distributed, there are more than 100 others in the pipeline.